Hi, it's Barbara Greenlee with Green Moon Stamp Studio, and in today's video I'm going to show you this easy chevron background technique using your Designer Series paper scraps. Let's get started. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you this fun chevron designer paper background technique. Isn't that fun? And it is so easy. I'm also going to show you how to do and you may already be familiar with this, the baby wipe technique for a fall leaf on your inside and your, oh, I did a different kind in there, but on your envelope and your inside. So let's start doing this. We're going to do that envelope and we're going to do the inside. But let's do the important part. Now, my club did this technique for their technique book. So I've got a little mini version in here with these little strips. I'll show you what that one looked like. So this is the mini one that we did in club. So on this one, we used 1/2-inch strips. You can use any size strips, but that worked out nice for this little one. And then this is our book. For the big card, I'm using 1-inch strips. But whatever size scraps you have, that would work. You can use 3/4-inch strips, and at the end I want to show you some other ones that I have done using this technique with some other papers. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is your greeting. So your greeting is going to determine the angle of that first strip. So that's going to make it easy for you to start out. And I have strips here. They happen to be from a 6x6 pack of paper. So they're 6 inches by 1 inch. They don't need to be 6 inches. Probably, 4.5 or 5 is long enough for this technique. So I am going to, that is not the right saying. Well, I'm going to go with it because that is the saying I have here. I could do the thank you. But that's kind of small for the big card. Okay, we're going to go with this one. It says, "You are amazing in every single way." So you're just going to stamp that in the corner at about a 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be a 45-degree angle. Whatever angle it winds up being is going to dictate the angle of your chevron on the front. So, all right. So the first thing you're going to do is grab your first strip, and we are going to use liquid glue for this. And I'm going to start with the green stripe. I just did 2 different patterns, or I'm sorry, 3 different patterns here. So the first strip, like I said, you're going to line it up with your words, and you're going to put the point right at the bottom of your mat. So we're building this on a 5 1/4 by 4 mat that we will then, put on the card base. All right, so once you kind of determine that, put your glue right on your cardstock. Make a little rectangle like that. That way you're not going to glue your strip to your mat, your grid paper. You keep the glue just on, and the liquid glue is important because then you can like shimmy it into place. so that you line up with those words. It's easier to line up with your words than to line your words up with your paper. So that helps out. Okay, now we're going to grab this plaid strip. And you can do this more than one way. You could make them butt up against each other for a chevron like that. I kind of like leaving a little white space for more of a tile look. And once you have the first one down, it's easy to kind of guesstimate where your glue goes. And we want to leave a little white, like, grout line space. So then your next one will go, see, we're doing the polka dot now. So the next one is going to go right here, and you're going to leave the white space on both sides. And then we're going to do green again. This is Mossy Meadow. This little 6x6 pack, I think it's called Iconic Celebrations. And it was part of the July online exclusives release. So we're just alternating our paper so that not the same pattern is touching another pattern. And then we'll go back to this pattern. Put your glue down. And shimmy that into place. And as you can see, they didn't need to be quite that long. And then the last one will be another polka dot. And you want to just try to make sure your white spaces line up. Hold it in place for a few seconds. Okay, so now that you have all that in place, now you're just going to flip it over and trim it. So you can trim it on your paper trimmer. You would need to go this way so that you can, you know, angle it wherever you don't have paper in your way. You wouldn't be able to put it in your paper trimmer this way because paper would be going everywhere. So you would probably go upside down. So I'm just going to do it with my scissors, which is the other alternative. You will get a little bit of a cleaner trim by using your paper trimmer. But this works just as good. Okay, so once you have everything trimmed off, and you can even use these scraps to go another round with another card. You might, some of them would be long enough, you know, to do another project. Save the shorter ones for up here. Isn't that leaf pretty? So you could change it up. You wouldn't have to do all the same patterns. But I did do this one. And then you will just glue it down or tape it down to your card front. I usually score my card base first. Didn't that time, but that's okay. Let's stick this down to the front of our card so you can see how great that looks. It doesn't have to be, matted again. You can just go straight down onto the card base, but if you want to get a little bit fancier, you could make this a little bit smaller and do a secondary mat. Now I also embellished this with some leaves, and I used the foam adhesive sheet and I ran this through and cut out those leaves and put that on. I'll do that later. You don't need to see that. This is what the finished card will look like. And I used some metallic, see, what are these called? Adhesive back metallic gems. Love these. Used the copper ones. I also want to show you that technique with the baby wipe technique. We're going to use this, but before I do that, let me show you just a few other cards that I did with this. So this one is using the I think it's called Countryside Inn. I'll look it up. So I love that blue paper, the boho blue. Here's another one with that paper. On this one I used all different ones, and on this one I used 1-inch strips, and on this one I used 3/4-inch strips because I had some scraps that were already that size. And on this one I decided to go ahead and close in that gap at the top. You can do that, or you can leave the white space, whatever you like. Here's another one I did. This one is with the Unbounded Beauty, I believe is the name of this paper. So this card base is, I'm already forgetting the name of it. I'll write it down for you. And then that's from the Sketched Butterflies, the butterfly I put on top. So, you could basically just grab any kind of big image and put it on top, put some ribbon or not. And then this is the last one I did. This one is with the Wildly Flowering paper. I love that paper, and I used a different piece of the paper for all of them. And when I was done with this one, there was a lot of white space here in this corner, right there, just because of the angle I started at. So I went ahead and put another piece right here too. So you can always add more pieces if it needs to be more balanced. So okay, so those are some more examples. You can have a lot of fun with this, and it's so easy. Now let me show you how I did the baby wipe technique for the leaf. Get rid of some of these supplies. So all you do is you take a baby wipe, and as you can see, this one has already been soaked down with ink. I'm using Cajun Craze to match my card, and you're just going to put some drops of Cajun Craze on the baby wipe, and then Mossy Meadow is the other color I used. Again, that's just so it will match my card. You can use any colors that you need to match your card. Just put a few drops, let them bleed together on there. This one is pretty soaked, so I don't have to put a lot of extra drops, just kind of re-wetting it. Then I've got this large leaf. Let's see, here's my envelope. Now when you ink it up on here, you don't want to go all over the place, because then you'll pick up all the inks, in this case just 2 colors, but they'll all get blurred together and you just kind of wind up with a brown. You want to be able to see the colors. So stamp it on there in a spot where you think you'll pick up, you know, both colors, and then just move it ever so slightly left and right, and that will help blur the colors together. And then when you stamp, hold it on your paper for a minute or two, so that, not a whole minute or two, a few seconds, so that the ink can soak in and blend. That one's a lot darker than that one. I'm not sure why. Maybe some of the mossy meadow has migrated into the Cajun craze. But let's do it again for our inside. It's so pretty. It's perfect for fall leaves too. So that's what you get with the baby wipe technique. So leave me a comment and let me know if you have tried this or never seen it before. I was inspired by a card I saw that was similar to this, but I made up the name myself. I don't know what, you know, there's a lot of different techniques with strips of paper. So anyway, I'm calling this one the Chevron background. So thanks.